Hi, and congratulations on your 2022 Nissan Qashqai SV. This is a great vehicle. These have been around for a long time, but there's a reason for that. There's a lot of great features on it, really nice drive on it, lots of room, but you already know that. That's why you bought this. We're going to go back through and refresh your memory on all the features that you got with it, and at the end, if you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. All of my contact info will be at the end. Or feel free to drop into a Regan's Nissan here at 60 Baker Drive in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Let's go through and show you what you got with your vehicle. We're going to start right here at the infotainment system. We've got a beautiful 7-inch touchscreen color display here. Now with this, if I hit my source button here, I've got AM, FM, satellite, CD. There is still a CD player in these. USB, which is down below here, as well as Bluetooth, auxiliary, and what we don't see here is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, just because they haven't been hooked up yet. As soon as you hook your phone up, those will become available as well. Now, if we back out of here, in order to hook your phone up, you're going to go into Settings, and then you're going to go into Connections, and then you're going to hit Add New, and we can see there's already one added here. When you hit Add New, a screen will pop up. It's going to go through and it's going to give you a number there. On your phone, you want to go into your settings, Bluetooth, and then you're looking for My Qashqai. Once My Qashqai appears, tap on it. You'll get that number pop up on your screen that should match what's up here on the screen. From there, simply press pair. If you have an Apple phone, at that point you'll need to press allow once. If it's an Android phone, you'll need to press allow twice. Also, if you have an Android phone and you have a lock screen, once you've hit pair and allow, then I need you to back out to the main settings, go down to lock screen, then you're going to go into smart lock, you're going to go to trusted devices, and you're going to add a trusted device, and you're going to add My Qashqai. What this does is once your screen locks up, it prevents it from kicking your phone out, and it keeps you connected to the system here. Bluetooth can be enabled right in here when you hit on the little cog on the screen there. So we're going to come back out of here, and we're going to back out of there again. Now, we've passed daylight savings time here in Nova Scotia, but when it hits again in the fall, if we go to clock, set clock manually, I can set everything right here, really nice and easy. And when I set my clock here, it also automatically sets it over here as well. The fastest way back out of any of these is simply hit your audio or menu button, whichever screen you prefer to be on. Makes it really easy to get what you want there and make sure that you're at the screen that you want to be on. Down below, as I mentioned, we've got a USB port and our auxiliary port. We also have a 12-volt power port here that you can plug an adapter into. There is an electronic parking brake. Now, to activate this, you're simply going to pull up. You see that goes red, and up on my screen up here, I see the park indicator. To disengage it, your foot must be on the brake and then push down on it. If you don't do that, it will pop up with a message on your screen telling you to put your foot on the brake. Auto hold is a neat little feature. So I'm going to buckle up so that we can show you this. Auto hold, in order for this to work, you must be buckled, as you should be anyway while you're driving. And then once we turn this on, up here, I'm going to put us in drive, and right away we see it went green. This will be white while you're driving. It's just a little circle with an A in it and the word hold. And then when you put your foot on the brake for 2 full seconds, it does turn green. This means that although I'm in drive, I do not have my foot on the brake and we're not moving. As soon as I touch the gas, we start to move. That turns white. And again, as soon as our foot is on the brake for 2 full seconds, it turns green again. So I'm going to back us back to where we need to be again here, put us back in park, and everything is good. Now, while this is green, if I shift into park now, it automatically engages my parking brake. Makes it really easy to operate. Heated seats are right down here beside my cup holders. And next up, we're going to look at the steering wheel. We're going to start on the right side of the steering wheel here, and we're going to start with our Bluetooth hands-free. So the phone button here will answer a call or hang up once you're done. The voice button here will allow you to make an outbound call through Nissan's voice recognition system, or if you press and hold this for 2 full seconds, it will access the voice recognition system on your phone if so equipped. And I say if so equipped because flip phones tend to not have it. Some of the older phones may not be set up with it. But if you've got a newer iPhone, it will access Siri. If you have a newer Android phone, it will access Hey Google. Our cruise control is turned on with the blue button here, and I'm going to show you what happens when I just press it. It jumps over and shows me this screen initially, and then goes to our adaptive cruise screen, where I can set my distance using this button here. And I'm going to press that, and it reduces my distance from 3 car lengths plus safe distance down to 2, and then 1, and then back up to 3. Just as a bit of a visual, 1 car length plus safe distance while doing 100 kilometers per hour is approximately 2.5 car lengths between you and the vehicle in front of you. If you don't want adaptive cruise, instead of just pressing this button, I'm going to press and hold, and we can see everything has changed up here on the screen. I no longer have bars in front, and my icon up here has changed. This is traditional cruise control. So if you're not familiar with adaptive cruise, you don't want to use adaptive cruise, this will bypass it and give you traditional cruise. Now, when I put our adaptive cruise back on, you do have a feature called Pro Pilot Assist, which I know is active right now because of the steering wheel right up here. There is a button down on my dash here that will turn this on or off. It's called Steering Assist in the system. When Pro Pilot is active, your cruise speed must be set for this to engage. Then once your speed is set, your cruise is fully engaged. The camera up and behind your rear view mirror here is going to read the lines on either side of you. You'll hear everything click in. This will all light up green. Pro Pilot will be engaged, and you will feel the steering wheel moving a little bit in your hands. This system was primarily designed for long drives or late night drives where you might not be as alert as you were starting out, but it will help steer the vehicle with you. I do have a video going through all the ins and outs of the Pro Pilot system. Please check it out. It'll give you great detail on it. It's only about 8 to 10 minutes long, but it'll show you every single piece of how that system works. Other than that, for your cruise, you get your set, resume, cancel. If your cruise is already set, you can increase or decrease the speed there. On the left side of my wheel, I have my volume for my radio. These two buttons are going to go through my presets. Now I'm going to put my screen back up to my home screen. Actually, I'm going to put us on the radio screen here. I can see I'm on preset 1. Using these two buttons here, now I can reach over and I can tap on the screen to do it, or I can use either of these buttons to change my preset as I'm going. Also, what we'll see later on, or we'll cover it now, is on this screen here, which is our radio screen. If I press the OK button, I can change the source of my audio. So it goes from FM to satellite to Bluetooth to auxiliary, AM, and then back to FM. Satellite radio is free for the first 3 months. If you don't want it after that, don't do anything. It should just stop. If you do, it will revert back to channel 1, which is your preview channel. There is a toll-free number on there. Just give them a call. They're great to deal with, and they'll get you hooked up pretty quick. So that's our two buttons here. If you are streaming music from a phone or a CD player, these buttons will skip tracks for you. This is our back button, which we'll see in a couple of the screens up here. This is our home screen, and we can change this screen using the left and right arrows as well as the OK button. And we can scroll through options when they're up using the up and down arrows. So let's have a look. This screen is our average speed. We're going to remove this screen in a couple minutes. I don't find it to be overly useful for most people. Some people it is, but for most of my customers, they don't want this screen on. So I'm going to show you how to remove that in a few minutes. Let's go through that now because we are missing one screen there. So if we go down to meter settings in the settings, main menu, we're going to remove average speed. We are going to add the trip odometer. Everything else that I want is already selected in there. If you want to change what you're seeing for your different menus, you can simply go through there and do that. Now we're going to come back over. Now we have a trip odometer. Now, this vehicle has gone 172 kilometers in 5 hours, which explains why our fuel economy is running so high. But to reset this, all I got to do is press OK. I can reset either just the fuel economy, which is the screen I was just on, or I can say all, which will reset all 3 screens, and that's what I'm going to do at the moment. Next screen to the right, as we saw, is our radio info. To the right of that is our adaptive cruise screen. This next screen is for your safety features. It will give you visuals to go with all of the safety features as they engage. For your safety features, you have automatic emergency braking with forward collision warning in the front of the vehicle, run through a radar in behind the Nissan emblem. In the winter, be sure to keep that emblem clean of snow and ice. Otherwise, it will obstruct it and temporarily disable your safety features on you. Your forward collision warning is something that you will experience driving down the road if the car in front of you is turning into a parking lot or into a driveway. They're going to be doing about 10 or 15 kilometers an hour around that turn as you're doing about 50 approaching them. As soon as that radar gets within range, it will beep at you and flash a warning on the screen up here, letting you know that there is a risk of a collision unless something changes. As soon as they finish rounding that turn, nothing else happens. You carry on as if it never happened. Now, if partway around the turn they hit the brakes or the car that's driving up in front of you slams on the brakes, inside the vehicle, it will beep at you. It'll flash warning on that screen. The gas pedal will push back against your foot a little bit, but you're not going to feel it because your foot's lifting to go to the brake. If you don't get to the brake quick enough, your Qashqai will start to apply the brakes for you to help avoid or minimize an oncoming collision. The moment your foot is on the brakes, that system turns off because you're in total control of your vehicle. You have pedestrian detection, which works the exact same way using a camera up in the windshield here. Again, keep that camera nice and clear of snow and ice in the winter. That camera is looking for the shape of a human in motion. And if it sees it, it's going to do the exact same thing as your automatic emergency braking, but it's going to happen even faster. The reason being, the car in front of you that just hit the brakes still has a little forward momentum, while that person who walked out in front of you does not. You have lane departure warning. Again, run through the camera up in the windshield there. If you start to drift out of your lane while you're on the highway, because this feature works at 60 kilometers an hour or higher, your haptic steering wheel is going to vibrate. It's almost like hitting the rumble strips on the side of the road. If you signal beforehand, the vehicle knows that you are intentionally moving and nothing happens. Blind spot indicators are on the inside of the vehicle on the A-frame pillar up next to your mirrors. There's one on each side. These work at 32 kilometers an hour or higher with a vehicle in motion beside you. It will not work on a parked car on the side of the road or a barrier on the highway. When you're driving along and part of a vehicle gets in your blind spot, the indicator on that side will light up and stay lit up a dull orange. Now, if our driver's side was lit up and while it's lit up, I signal to go left, this indicator is going to start flashing and it will beep at me inside the vehicle here just to let me know, have a look over my shoulder, there is something in my blind spot. You've got rear cross traffic detection, so that when you're backing out of a parking spot, if there's anything coming at you from either side within approximately 2 car lengths, it will beep at you inside the vehicle just to let you know that there's something approaching you. Also, whichever side it's approaching from, the blind spot indicator on that side of the vehicle will be flashing to let you know. You have rear sonar and rear emergency braking. This works with your backup. So on my backup camera, I've got green, yellow, and red hash marks here for distance markers. As soon as whatever is behind me gets within the green hash marks, it will start to beep at me. The closer I get to those red hash marks, the faster the beeping is going to get. If I get to the point that whatever is behind me is almost on top of those red hash marks, you're going to be into almost a steady tone, but if you're still backing up, it is going to fully apply the brakes about 1.5 feet away from whatever's behind you so that you don't make contact with that. The other thing to keep in mind too is as long as you keep whatever's behind you above the red hash marks, you have room to safely open your hatch. The final safety feature that you have is high beam assist. Now your headlights are automatic, so as long as you leave them in auto, when you push forward to the high beam position, and we're going to cover our light sensor to force our headlights on here. So now our headlights are on, and when I push my signal indicator to the high beam position, I see a little green bullet with an A in it here. This means that my high beams are now automatic. So at night, again, using the camera up in the windshield, it's looking for headlights and tail lights. If it sees either, it automatically turns your high beams back off. As soon as it doesn't see them, your high beams will automatically come back on. Now your high beams, and I'm going to take this out of automatic at the moment, when your high beams come on, That blue light does still come on there. The green bullet just lets you know that your high beams are automatic. You don't need to do anything for it, and that way nobody is flashing their lights at you because you didn't turn it off fast enough. Our next screen over to the right is a tire pressure monitoring screen. With this, your vehicle is equipped with sensors. Once you start to drive, it will show you the tire pressure for all 4 wheels individually here. It'll show you the exact pressure for each wheel, and on the axles in between, it will show you what the pressure should be set for. Now, there is a 6 PSI variance, so if you go below 6 PSI in the difference, typically we would set them around 33. If you get below 27, it will pop up with a warning no matter what screen you're on, tell you low tire pressure. You're also going to get your little warning light over here, and you will get the tire pressure light right around here. That'll light up. It will tell you which tire is low and what the exact pressure is. From there, when you pull in somewhere that has an air pump, leave your Qashqai running, grab the hose, go to the tire it says needs air, and start putting air in. As soon as you get up to the proper pressure, the horn's going to beep once to tell you to stop. If for some reason you kept going or went to the wrong tire, there is an upper limit that it will hit, and once it does so, the horn will beep 3 times in a row. Please stop putting air in your tire at this point. You risk ruining your tire otherwise. But if you do hit that, start letting some air back out of that tire. And once it gets back down to the proper pressure, the horn will beep just once to tell you to stop. Our next screen over allows you to monitor whether you're in front wheel or all-wheel drive, because the SV can be bought in the front wheel drive version or the all-wheel drive version. If you have the front wheel drive version, this screen is not available. If you have the all-wheel drive version, this screen is. Any warnings would appear here. Now I'm going to go back one screen, and I'm going to purposely cause a warning by opening my door. And we can see right away it pops up with a visual warning on the screen, and I get my exclamation mark over here. I'm going to press the OK button to clear off the visual warning, but my exclamation mark remains. So let's say, for example, I'm making a trip out of town, and partway to my destination, I clean my windshield and it pops up and says low wiper fluid. That's a warning that pops up. I clear the visual warning off the screen here, but this stays. Once I get closer to my destination, I pull into a gas station, and now I'm trying to figure out why is this here, because I don't remember. So if I come back to my warning screen, it tells me warning 1 of 1, and I can see what the warning is. If there was multiple warnings, it would say 1 of 2 or 1 of 3, however many there is, and you can use the up and down arrows here to scroll through them. To clear your warning, simply correct your issue. As soon as you do, it goes away all on its own, nothing extra to do. Our last screen over is our settings, and I'll preface this by saying, don't be afraid to play with your settings. There is a factory reset at the bottom if needed. We're going to start at the top with driver assistance, and I want to make sure that all of my safety features are fully enabled. So steering assist is currently on. That one is entirely up to you. That's your Pro Pilot system. Not everybody is comfortable with it, but I do encourage you to at least test it. The emergency braking. For your rear emergency braking, should you ever hook up a trailer hitch to this, whether it's for a small utility trailer or even just a bike rack, you want to come in here and disable it whenever you have that connected so that you are able to back up. Every time you turn the vehicle off and then turn it back on, by default, this is going to be back on, so keep that in mind. Our lane departure warning and prevention. Prevention means if you're starting to come out of your lane, if you're drifting, it'll vibrate the wheel, but if you're not correcting it, it will help pull you back in by subtly tapping the brakes on the opposite side of the vehicle to help straighten you back out. Those can be turned off, and when they are turned off, they do stay off. They do not come back on when you turn the vehicle back on. Same for our blind spot warning. I can turn that off, and it will disable the blind spot warning, and it will stay off until you physically turn it back on. I do encourage you to leave most of these settings on. They are safety settings. They're there to help prevent any type of accident. I know most people are good drivers, but there's still instances where things happen beyond our control. Parking aids, that is your rear cross traffic, which again you can turn off. The rear sonar, or the sensors there, again, that's for when you're backing up and for the sonar that happens, and you can adjust that sonar volume as well. You are going to want to disable that one when you disable the rear emergency braking for whatever you've got attached to the back of the vehicle. We're going to come back out of here. We're going to go to meter settings. We saw earlier that I went in here because I wanted to disable the average speed and re-enable the trip odometer. And like I said, you can go through and turn on or off whatever it is that you want to turn on or off, and it gives you all those options there. The big one I want to show you though next is in our vehicle settings. If we go down to locking, auto door unlock, by default, Nissan vehicles automatically unlock the doors when you turn them off. I'm going to set this so that when we shift into park, it will automatically turn the vehicle off. So there you can see that. I'm going to come back out and go to wipers, and I want to turn on all my features here. Speed dependent just means that when my wipers are on intermittent, the time delay that's there while I'm driving residentially, when I move out to the highway and pick up speed, that time delay will automatically reduce a little bit. Reverse link means if my front wipers are on and my back wipers are not, when I put it in reverse, even though that back wiper is not on, it's still going to make a pass over the window to clean it so that you can see. And drip wipe means after you spray your window and it does the 3 or 4 passes, it's going to wait a few seconds and then do one more pass to catch any drips running down your window. These are typically the only things that I would change in the menu here. For your maintenance, you want to make sure that this is set for 8,000 kilometers. Your maintenance is every 8,000 kilometers or every 6 months, whichever hits first. So if we set this here and you typically drive more than 8,000 kilometers in 6 months, it will pop up and tell you when you are due for an oil change. It'll say maintenance and oil filter. Otherwise, I know most times up here they write the kilometers on this. Have them write the date on that, because that way you have an idea of what you're looking for. If this is set, your vehicle will tell you if you get to that 8,000 mark, but if you've got the date up here, then you have that second line of defense to be able to know when you're due. Our climate control over here is a dual climate control, and I can see right away everything is set to the driver's side at the moment. If I have a passenger who wants a different temperature, all they got to do is turn that dial. Immediately there's different settings on each side. The moment my passenger gets out, if I push that dial, everything goes back to the driver's side setting. Also, I typically recommend that you find a temperature that you're comfortable with and then press auto. Auto is going to automatically determine where your airflow goes and what the fan speed is. It's trying to get you up or down to that temperature as quickly as possible, and then do just what it needs to maintain the temperature once you start getting close. I can manually set the speed of the fan here, or using the mode button change where my airflow is going to go, or I can hit this button here. The moment I do, auto turns off. On the left side of my dash over here, we've got some buttons. The first one is a traction control button. I don't recommend hitting this. It will turn off your traction control. Also disables all of your safety features. So we're going to turn that back on. Also, if you're in the all-wheel drive version, it is an all-wheel drive vehicle. There's really no need to turn that off. Even if you're in the front-wheel drive version, most people are not familiar with how to drive with this off, so for safety reasons, we recommend leaving it alone. We saw earlier this turns off and on your ProPilot Assist. Down below, you do have a leather-wrapped heated steering wheel, and this is the button to turn that on. And when you turn that on, that will stay on for 30 minutes. There is a lock for the all-wheel drive, which when I turn it on, I see it right there, and it will stay locked up to 40 kilometers an hour. Once I go above 40 kilometers an hour, that lock is going to turn back off. You're going to drop back down to front-wheel drive. However, it will engage all-wheel drive as needed up to 140 kilometers an hour. So this right here is more of a peace of mind thing, so that when you come out of a grocery store or wherever, you're going to be driving residentially, the roads are getting really greasy and you know that you're not going to go over 40. This will keep you in all-wheel drive the entire time. Sport mode and eco mode. So right now we're in normal mode. If I hit sport mode, I see it shows up there below my park indicator. Sport mode means I'm going to get a little more torque on the motor. My RPMs are going to rev a little higher. If you're running out of a passing lane and want to get ahead of that person in a hurry, that's how you do it. With that said, don't forget to take it back out of sport mode. It is harder on gas. Eco mode shows up in the same spot when you turn that on. That is going to help you get better gas mileage. However, just be aware that trying to pull away from a dead stop or trying to get out and around somebody in a hurry while in eco mode is going to feel a little bit sluggish. One of the last things I want to cover is our key fobs. So with this, we get several things that we're going to talk about. On the bottom here is our panic button. Then we have unlock, lock. You do have remote start right from the factory. To work your remote start, you're going to press lock and then press and hold this top button for 5 full seconds. Once you do that, your vehicle will start from up to 200 feet away. It's going to run for up to 10 minutes. And if you don't get in and engage the vehicle within 10 minutes, it will turn back off. You can extend that time by an additional 10 minutes from wherever you're at in the count by doing the exact same thing. Lock, press and hold the top button for 5 full seconds. If it was 7 minutes into that time, when you did it, you'll have a grand total of 17 minutes. If you try and cheat the system and remote start it and do it again right away, you'll get a total of 11 minutes. You can do 2 remote starts without ever getting in, or 1 with 1 extension. After that, you do need to get in the vehicle and get up to 30 kilometers an hour to reset your system to be able to use your remote start again. If you have it running from the remote start and you decide you're not going anywhere, press and hold the top button for 2 seconds. It will turn your vehicle back off. Now, the beauty of this remote start is you have an intelligent climate control system. What that means is if it is 3 degrees or lower outside and your motor is cold when you remote start, inside the vehicle, no matter what this is set for, all your airflow is going to focus up on the windshield and your side windows using these vents up here. Your rear defrost will automatically turn on, which activates your heated side mirrors, and your heated steering wheel will automatically turn on. Once you get in and engage the vehicle, your climate control will go back to normal. Your rear defrost and heated steering wheel will both stay on. If you had the heated seats left in an on position, they would warm your seats as well, and they would also stay on. Now, because you have a key fob, there is a battery in your key fob, and your very first indication that your battery is getting low, you will get in, you'll put your foot on the brake, you'll press your start stop button here, and it will pop up and say incorrect key ID. Don't panic, you have your key with you. Just means your key fob battery is starting to get a little bit low. Time to think about starting to replace that. Sometimes life does get in the way though, and you might go a long time before you get a chance to replace it. And if that's the case, that battery is going to continue to get lower, and that message will more persistently show up. If you hit the point that you just can't get the vehicle started, or maybe the battery is completely dead and you can't even get in, on the back of this, there's a little switch that allows you to get access to a key. There is a keyhole in the driver's side door. This will allow you to get into the vehicle. Once you get in, you're going to take your key fob using the Nissan emblem, put it directly against your start button, and with your foot on the brake, push this in with your key fob. To switch your battery, you want to pop the key out and get a small flat head into one of these 2 spots here. Give it a twist. This will open up your key fob. The battery inside is just like a watch battery, just a bit bigger. Most of the batteries are a CR2032. The battery size is the number right on your battery. It's also marked on the casing inside this as well. Make sure you put the same size battery in it. They typically cost about $7 or $8 locally here. You can get them at the dollar store. We just find that those ones don't last near as long, so I don't usually recommend that. Once you put the battery in, clip this back together, take your key, just put that back into its spot, and then you're good to go. Nothing else needs to be done, and you won't get that message anymore. Congratulations again on your 2022 Nissan Qashqai SV. This is a truly great vehicle. We've had these around for about 5 years now. Love driving these. Really good gas mileage in them, super comfortable, and all kinds of features to make sure that you're happy with your day-to-day commute. If you still have any questions after going through all of this, please don't hesitate to reach out. All of my contact info will immediately follow. You can call, text, email, or stop into O'Regan's Nissan at 60 Baker Drive here in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I look forward to seeing you when it's time for your regularly scheduled maintenance or when it's time for your next vehicle.